Welcome to Tech Transformation with CGT and RIS News, where we explore the innovative tech strategies and trends in retail and consumer goods. I'm Lisa Johnston, Editor-in-Chief of CGT. In this episode, I'm talking with Lindsay Winn and Ramki Krishnamoorthy of Molson Coors about their digital transformation journey. And we're going to talk a little bit about how it's helping them meet the shifting needs of today's consumers and what it's been like going through such a big business transformation. So Ramki, Lindsay, welcome.
Thank you.
Hi.
Okay, so Lindsay, you're the VP of Commercial IT Business Partner at Molson Coors. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what that role means.
For sure. So I sit in our Chicago office, which is primarily where our sales and marketing leadership team also sit. For the most part, my role is to lead a group of business partners, and we sit between the business and IT. And we make sure that the technical products and the technical projects that we are delivering meet the business needs and fit the strategy. So if one of my sales vice presidents updates the sales strategy, I want to have a look at it, look at the technology strategy, make sure those things are actually coming together as one and review that so that those sales VPs and I are in lockstep. Same thing with the marketing leadership team. Recently, I've also helped lead the cloud transformation program at Molson Coors, where we'll be resetting our managed services and also moving all of our traditional data center workload into the public cloud. I've been in IT for about 5 years. I have a technical background. I'm an engineer. I have a business master's degree, and I spent about 5 years of my time at Molson Coors outside of IT, and then came in to start to bring my business knowledge and technical knowledge together to help deliver these transformative strategies for the company.
What were you said you've been in IT for 5 years. So what were you doing before IT?
So Molson Coors actually has an internship program where they both bring in undergrad and graduate interns. So I was coming out of my business degree. They hired me in as an intern into the strategy team. And I led the planning process for the sales organization. So setting distributor targets and sales targets. I moved into brand planning. So how much Miller Lite are we going to sell and how much money are we going to spend to sell it and in what geographies?
Ramki, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself and about your role.
I'm head of global enterprise architecture. So my main accountabilities include understanding what our business strategies and priorities are, and building a holistic technology strategy in partnership with Lindsay and other business partners that we have supporting the various business functions. And that's my main accountability here at Molson Coors. And prior to here, I've been in IT for over 22 years, with broader focus being in the manufacturing vertical.
So we're going to talk today, this show is Tech Transformation. We're going to talk today about also business transformation and how digital transformation can support it. So it means a lot of different things to different companies. So what does this mean for Molson Coors?
Yeah, before I talk about Molson Coors specifically, I think it's important to clarify what digital transformation is and why is that such a key topic for all the enterprises today. Transformation, as everybody knows, is synonymous to change. For example, if you take the mobile phones and how we have embraced it over the last 10 to 15 years, it's pretty much provided us the accessibility that's pretty much completely transformed how we live our lives, how we shop, how we go about entertaining ourselves, our lifestyles, our habits, and the consumer behaviors are more now geared towards how can I get everything then and there and instantly? So all these changes have also influenced about our lifestyles and consumer behaviors. And now if you look at the other end of the equation, companies like us will have to take advantage of that change that our consumer base and markets are undergoing. And we have to be nimble enough to modify our business processes in order to be relevant to cater to those markets and consumers. So that's what digital transformation is in general. And if you look at Molson Coors, I think we have made a shift in order to expand our markets and our consumer base. We are transformed from a beer company to a beverage company. And how we go about reaching to that consumer base is going to inform a lot of insights into how we want to go about impacting that change for our business. And we want to study the trends and understand our consumers better so we can cater to them better. So analytics and insights, as I said, has become an integral part of our business function. And that's going to inform how dynamic our business processes need to be to cater to this frequently changing market and our consumers. So all that is easier said than done unless we are able to digitize our processes. And that's what is informing what digital transformation actually means for Molson Coors. We are digitizing our capabilities. We are digitizing our business processes. And those are all some of the critical ingredients that's driving our transformation.
Okay. I want to get a little bit into the weeds in just a bit with some of those things you mentioned. But for now, I want to just take a little bit of a step back. A transformation, it results from challenges. Something was prompting a need for change. So, Lindsay, for Molson Coors, what were some of those factors, some of the business challenges that really pushed this need for change?
Right. I think there's layers of it, right? So I think at the highest level, when you look at a company like Molson Coors, we have been around since the 1800s, and we've been making beer since the 1800s. And I think I was recently at a conference where they said, if you're a company that's that old, you didn't design any of your processes, you evolved into them, right? So these things kind of twist and turn and go all the way, and then they are the way they are, and people haven't gotten around to questioning it. Well, this is just the way we do distributor reimbursements, or this is just the way that we do incentives. And if you ask people, well, what would make it better? What do you want? They would tell you, oh, you know what? In this screen, in this drop down, can you just add this value for this thing? And they'll suggest this incremental improvement because they take the process as a given. So sometimes when the technologists come in the room and we say, yeah, but guys, all the distributor reps have a smartphone in their pocket now, and we know where they're standing. Why would we even have a drop down? Why wouldn't we know what store they're in? And everyone gets, and they get creeped out and they can't believe it's possible. So I think the challenge for us is, one piece of it is getting people to think like a modern digitally native company when in fact we're not, right? And we're very proud of our history, and we're very proud of all of the products that we've made the same way for hundreds of years. And so how do you preserve that pride and that culture and that ethos of the company while also saying, yeah, cool, but we're going to completely blow up that process and start over again because we can and we should. The other thing, and it's a bit more tactical, is Ramki indicated we're turning into a beverage company. They're like, oh my gosh, how different could it be? But if you go out with one of our sales reps, it's incredibly different. So you're in a store and you're in the beer section and you're building displays and you're filling shelves and you're making sure you've got pricing. But even in the back of the store where they keep the beer overflow to fill the shelf from and they keep the non-beer product to fill the shelf from is different. And in some cases you're walking around, where the heck are the energy drinks? Where the heck is the canned coffee? I don't even know where that is in the store, and it's different in every store. It's taking those reps more time when they're out there to deal with this. And especially as these non-beer products are relatively small and growing, it's hard for those guys to spend the time on what they see as a small part of their portfolio. So from our technology perspective, how can we make that so easy, right? How can we remove the friction from that process and make it possible for them to service that store the way that in the speed they always have, even with this incredible breadth of products? So as the business changes, it's taking this old way of doing things and trying to get people to clear their mind, handing them something completely new so that they can still do the job they've always done, but in a completely new way.
Are you able to share an example of kind of how you maybe converted a non-believer or maybe a skeptic in this process? Because, there's always some who just don't believe that there's going to be change, but then you show it to them and they become almost your evangelists.
Yeah, I think you've got to do a bit of, it's all education. It's not even that, well, I shouldn't say it's not hard. It's hard, but it's not like I'm doing anything revolutionary. We have a distributor portal, right? And I don't know that the concept of a portal is necessarily a transformation in and of itself. What we had for our customers was an old SharePoint site. And I like to call it a SharePoint site on steroids. It was a SharePoint site, and we like applied a tremendous amount of duct tape and made it into a bit of a Rube Goldberg machine behind the scenes. And I wanted to replace it with a more modern, CRM portfolio, like true portal where it was one application where they could do their business with us. And I can remember talking to one of our sales VPs about it. And he was like, it's a website. Corp Comms owns that. Sure, get them a new website. I was like, no, it's not a Corp Comms website. This isn't a static thing. We're talking about replacing a website with a software platform, and it'll do all the stuff. And he was like, okay, Corp Comms owns that. I don't own that. I just couldn't, I couldn't quite get him to see the difference, because to somebody who doesn't do this all the time, it was two websites. So I went to, it was a vendor presentation, and it was actually United Airlines was there presenting to a group in a public setting, and they were showing off, they had a B2B business portal that they had built. And I thought, this is it. This is it. This is the thing.
This is what I want.
If this is what I want. So I got in touch with them through the vendor and said, are you okay if I show you a presentation to my sales VP? And they were, of course, like, yeah, that's fine. So I showed it to him, and it was this live demo, and you could see how the customers were actually interacting with this website. They weren't just clicking on a static link. It was a piece of software. And he was like, oh, I get it. So I think for me, it's
see the light bulb go off. Like, oh,
the light bulb goes off. I see now. I understand. I can imagine this is our world. And for us in the beverage industry in particular, I think that there's some alc beverage companies doing some really cool stuff, but the coolest stuff is outside of our industry completely. So in some cases, I've brought in like wild stuff out of the left field, airlines, other places to bring ideas to life for our leadership team.
Well, that's a great idea. We hear that often, people really looking, we often hear them pointing to the automakers, for example, to see what the automakers are doing to get inspiration.
Yeah. People think beer is a special flower, and it's not. We look a lot like car dealerships, because you've got that middle tier. We look like insurance companies. Yeah.
No one wants to say they look like insurance companies, so innovation.
We love you, insurance companies, if you're listening.